won 5 times and got over 200,000 votes. Canadians won 3 times for various reasons, 140,000 votes. New York City voters, probably around Zoran Mamdani mostly, over 100,000 votes and won twice. And the Epstein survivors, just narrowly, they were number 4, 2 wins, 107,000 votes. And so we have a lot of fun choosing ours, but I also love seeing what you all care about. So thank you to everybody who takes time out of your day to vote.
And thanks for choosing that font where the D turns into the dot on the I. Oh my God, I love it.
Graphic design is our passion, Brett. Anyway, thank you. I like the graphics. I think it looks cool. I think it's like a dragon sort of theme. Anyway.
If you're bored this weekend, you can still watch ABC's The Year on Hulu and Disney Plus. I'm in that. That's fun. Hard-hitting quips about Taylor Swift's wedding. It's great.
I like it. Go watch that. Also, go watch the finale of Stranger Things. It was really good. And then we can talk about it. But anyway, thank you everybody for joining us today. I'm going to be joining the first hour of The Young Turks with Cenk Uygur later on today. So I hope to see many of you there. We're going to be doing our members content. Mostly it's about golf, but it's gonna be fun. And for now, stay safe out there, stay sane out there. We'll see you soon.
Indisputable. I'm your host, Rashad Richey. Good to be with you. We have a lot on the agenda today, breaking down news of the day, none other than Mr. Elliott Morgan. I was fascinated to have his analysis. Top story of the day here, health costs now skyrocket. Here it is.
22 million Americans expected to be impacted by this lapse in subsidies. What will this mean for them?
Well, you know, Ariel, sticker shock is real for millions of Americans across the country right now. Many of them were re-enrolled in the program that they already chose prior to, but now they're dealing with much higher premiums. KFF estimates about 114% of an increase for those annual premiums this year compared to last year. And it's only going to increase with the current state right now. Now, I want to walk you through who is going to be impacted by this the most, according to research by Urban Institute, which is a nonpartisan research organization. Young people are going to really feel the effects of this. And this is really gets really interesting. Without those enhanced tax credits, about 4.8 million more people will actually drop their coverage. Now, among racial groups, Black, non-Hispanic people are projected to see the largest increase in uninsurance rates. There's 8 different states across the country that are going to really feel the brunt of this. You have Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, Oregon, South Carolina.
Put up full mass. Very sad. Last year, after Republicans cut more than $1 trillion in federal health care and food assistance with Trump's big tax and spending cuts bill, Democrats and you and this show repeatedly called for the subsidies to be extended. But while some Republicans in power acknowledged the issue needed to be addressed, like cowards, they refused to put it to a vote until later in the year, which, as I said at that time, guaranteed that many more will be adversely affected. That day is here. Democrats forced a 43-day government shutdown over the issue. In the end, no one's efforts were enough to save the subsidies before the expiration date. A House vote expected in January could offer another chance, but success very far from guaranteed. So let me take it to in December, the Senate rejected 2 partisan healthcare bills, a Democratic pitch to extend the subsidies for 3 more years, and a Republican pitch that would have instead provided Americans with health savings accounts. In the House, 4 centrist Republicans broke with GOP leadership and joined forces with Democrats to force a vote that could come as soon as January on 3-year extensions of the tax credits. But with the Senate already having rejected the plan, it's unclear whether it could get enough momentum to even pass. Once again, this is all politics. On average, the more than 20 million subsidized enrollees in the Affordable Care Act are seeing their premium cost rise by 114% in 2026. That's according to an analysis by the healthcare research nonprofit KFF. Those surging prices come alongside an overall increase in health costs in the U.S., which are further driving up out-of-pocket costs in many plans. In 2026, you're paying more for groceries, you're paying more for health care, you're paying more for your household expenses, you're paying more for gas, you're paying more for everything. There's more. Health analysis. A health analyst predicted the expiration of the subsidies will drive many of the 24 million total Affordable Care Act enrollees, especially younger and healthier Americans, to forego health insurance coverage altogether. Over time, that can make the program more expensive for the older, sicker population that remains. An analysis conducted last September by the Urban Institute and Commonwealth Fund projected the higher premiums from expiring subsidies would prompt some 4.8 million Americans to drop the coverage in 2026. Go back to these clowns that gave you this. Put them back up. I'm going to explain something. That analysis is their analysis. This is not an analysis that's adverse to what the Republicans wanted to do or what Trump and his cronies attempted to do. I want you to understand what the analysis is saying. It is saying because you have increased it so much, the younger individuals who are still mandated by law to obtain health insurance will forego that. They'll decide not to pay into the system and instead take the penalty from the IRS if the penalty is not waived. And because the young, more healthier individuals are no longer paying into the system, the older individuals who require the system to work for them will have to pay higher premiums by cause and effect. It's called by proxy. So they will have to pay higher premiums without the administration ever having to raise premiums, period, in an actual vote, because they did it today. They did it today. That was the plan from the beginning. Dear brother, thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, Happy New Year. As you said, this is kind of incredible. I think the amount of things that are coming at the working class and middle class people of America, where you listed a few of them, but it is a little bit like, okay, fool me once, but this is like fool me 18 times. It's hard to find an area of life that's not getting a little bit worse because of this administration. And the level of anger, I think that I feel just kind of gets worn down a little bit. And I don't know if that's part of the plan where they just kind of keep trying to chip away at people's well-being. But the emotional toll, I think, in addition to the financial toll, is something that is not going to be as quantifiable, but it's still going to be incredibly significant for a lot of people. And this is the MO of this administration. This is what they're interested in. It does seem like every decision they make somehow hurts people who do not have as much money in their pockets as other people. And it is very frustrating.
Very sad. We'll keep you updated on this. We got more on the other side. Indisputable Stick and Stay.
What contributions to the progressive cause are you most proud of? I mean, I don't have super high aspirations for a singular role that I can play in the movement or anything. I try to present myself as what I think that I am, which is a progressive man who is driven by I think, well-interrogated and well-organized system of values that I try to stay consistent on, and I demonstrate that that's the sort of life that a person can lead and be successful and be happy and all of that. And that should not need to be done, but there are so many people on the right that are trying to push men in the opposite direction that I want to be able to do that. Along the way, if I can get people to care about some topics that they wouldn't necessarily care about, or that for some men they might think that's not a topic that they should be focused on, that's definitely something that I relish doing. And along the way, I mean, we've been able to introduce people to a lot of candidates. That's been a big part of what we've done. Not all of them necessarily got in office. Probably most of them did not. And a lot of them you might not even remember their names. But it was great to be able to provide people the platform where they had the chance of making a difference. Obviously AOC and all that, but there's been a lot of great people along the way.
In the bonus episode for the members, we do some inside baseball. We're gonna look at John's desk. Nice little spaceship here. Nerd. But it is kind of look cool. Who has Legos? Oh no. He's taken apart a keyboard. Who has a mouse pad that's this big? He's got a dog with a nose that you can hang something on. You know what this desk screams to me? Nerd. And that's how we like him. We love Johnny Pie. He's got his own personality like everybody does at TYT. Come meet us all in the bonus episodes. TYT.com/team.
David Sorrell, Nina Turner. Adam Green drop by.
Charlamagne.
Congressman, great to have you. It's great to be with you, Chang.
Your show is a great thing. You're informing people. A lot of the shows that I live on, my CNN, my MSNBC, and even Fox, and any of the other shows, NPR, they are so quick to decide that they know what this building means today.
The one thing that I hate that politicians do, they talk about the people they should be talking to.
Do they have any idea that they're the establishment and that they're hated? Or do they not realize that at all?
People are so deeply in their little universe. I think it's very easy to not really question what you're doing.
Voters have a right to ask questions of any nominee, whether they're independent, Republican, or Democrat.
The system is duopoly that suppresses competition.
How is it the year 2024 and we're still like, maybe they'll talk about paid medical? Like how is that like at one level it's like, this is what we're talking about now. You're like, it's 2024.
And that's always been the critique, that your critique of us is, well, you guys give good speeches, you put out good tweets, but you're not wielding actual power. Now we're starting to.
My favorite news platform by far. It's not even close.
It's about a country and a principle, and that's what you and I both work to achieve. And I'm so glad that at least half the battle has now been won.
If you want to go really hear what's going on honestly, you should tune into the Young Turks.
Thanks for doing such a great job. Please keep it up. Hang tough.
Yeah.
That makes me so happy.
Oh, I like making you happy.
I didn't know about that.
This is a happy experience. You're welcome, YouTube.
Join the Dragon Squad by becoming a YouTube channel member. Click the join button below or sign up on tyt.com/join to get access to fun emojis, a member-only chat, exclusive shop TYT designs, ad-free watching, and so many other amazing perks. Plus, you get bragging rights for being part of the coolest community on the internet and help us drive real positive change in the world. The Dragon Squad awaits, so join today.
All right, welcome back. Always good to be with you. Okay, we're back to this pastor who is, well, he likes to be called the national director, not grand wizard of the KKK. Well, he's saying he doesn't really believe that black people can go to heaven, but he doesn't want to hurt black people no more than he wants to hurt an innocent dog or a snake in the grass. Here it is.
I asked him if a black man could go to heaven, and this is Thomas Robb deflecting that question for 13 minutes.
The Bible doesn't address black people hardly at all.
So does that mean then, so your belief is the Bible was written by white people to white people?
In modern terms, written by Israelites.
That's a very generic way of putting it, but yeah.
Written by Israelites to Israel.
So would an Israeli be welcome in your church?
Probably not.
Once again, I make the point that Jesus, Yahshua, would not have been allowed in the church of Jesus, according to his doctrine. There's actually more, and I wanted to highlight some of the insanity involved in this kind of indoctrinated thinking. He also makes it very clear that not everyone is welcomed in his church. Here it is.
We don't have a sign, everybody welcome, because everybody's not welcome to our church. There's a certain element of people that just aren't welcome. The image always showed Jesus Christ with arms outstretched, wide out, like everybody. But the reality, Jesus Christ is not wide arms stretched. His arms are, what he said, the path was straight and narrow.
Right, but wouldn't you say that the path of straight and narrow is welcome to everybody?
Well, we're having to dissect various applications of that statement. But is it open to everybody, like in the broad sense of the word? No.
What I hear is like a person of color, a black man, can they be saved and then be part of the kingdom of God?
What does saved mean?
I mean, if we're going to go off of a traditional theological practice, it is understanding Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. A traditional Christian perspective, that means then you gain access to heaven.
Well, you know, I like the word redeemed.
The guy interviewing him is not a theologian, nor a preacher. He's just a guy who interviews people and does research. Put it at full mass. There are some elements here I would like to highlight. So last week, we reported that the leader of the KKK had revealed the hate group is undergoing a rebranding. Journalist Josh White interviewed the new national director, because he no longer wants to be called Grand Wizard, Thomas Robb. He's not just the Grand Wizard, but he's also a pastor of a Christian church. Now, this is a quote. In spite of what people say, the Bible doesn't address black people hardly at all. KKK leader and Arkansas-based Pastor Thomas Robb told the journalist Joshua White in a September interview. Let's keep this picture up for a moment. Pastor, I would like to talk to you, dear preacher. First, I would recommend you read the Bible if you're going to preach it, because in Scripture, it says clearly that Christ welcomed all. It actually says he was sent to the Jews, but the Jews received him not, so he went to the Gentiles. Gentiles, everybody else but Jewish folk. So Jewish folk and non-Jewish folk are now able to embrace this great revolutionary Messiah called Yahshua. Yahshua did things like eat with lepers. You would have called that leper the N-word back in your time, sir. Yahshua did things like commune with prostitutes. You would have had a different word for her. Yahshua did things like told parables about helping people that don't look like you, don't come from your culture, and don't have your same belief system. That is what Scripture says. Now, I'm not sure what you're preaching, but if you're preaching the Bible, you have some reconciling to do with your own theology, obviously. But what you're preaching, sir, is from the lens of hate. And while it expresses as hate for others, it is truly hate for yourself. Quote, American history doesn't begin in 1776. It doesn't begin in 1620 or 1607 with Jamestown or the 1620 Pilgrims. American history begins long before that. It goes way back. We view it way back to when God called Abraham out of the era of the Chaldeans and said, I want to make with you a covenant. Rob explained, this man believed that a Hebrew named Abraham is white. There's more. Despite the fact that the, quote, chosen people of the Old Testament were Israelites as well as Christ in that sense, Rob believes that in the new covenant God made through Christ was intended for white people, even though white people weren't around. Adding that Christ's arms aren't wide. He believes black people can be, quote, redeemed, but not saved. A really interesting theological note on redemption versus salvation. I don't believe anybody needs saving. I don't believe Christian folk who believe they need saving need saving. I believe they need to be reminded of who and what they are. That's just my personal belief. So I don't believe in a traditional salvation route. I believe in the remembering that you started as a divine creation, you remain a divine creation, and we should represent and also acknowledge the divinity that's in everybody, period. Real simple. But that's my belief, once again. The preacher here has a brand of theology that's not only dangerous, but has figured out how to become part of our mainstream political societal construct. You see, the individuals who are in political power today would debate me and you that this guy is probably right. See, this is what has infiltrated our political norms in the conservative party, primarily in the United States of America. So understand, I'm not just talking about a preacher and the KKK. I'm talking about a mindset and ideology and indoctrination that has started to fester and rule and take authority inside of political normality in America. There's more. There are certain elements of people, certain element of people that just aren't welcome. Preacher Rob said. He said he believes the, quote, benefits of Christianity is applicable to everybody, but, quote, that doesn't make them a part of the covenant. That doesn't make them marriage partners for my family. Let's put Rob back up again, man. You know what's ironic, Rob? I believe in the place we call the afterlife, whatever that thing may be. When you find out that Jesus is a man of color, sir, my heaven is going to be your hell, and we'll be standing right next to each other. When asked what he would want for black men in America, the preacher said he called them gangbangers. That's very original there, Rob. Very original racial trope. And said that the, quote, best thing for them to do would be to understand the rule of law. Sir, the rule of law, you don't even understand basic principles of the Bible you pretend to proclaim you believe in. But since you need a fair education, let's do that. So the wizard referred to black men as gangbangers. Let's look at crime statistics according to the FBI. I'm sure that's a good trusted source for the grand wizard there. White individuals, grand wizard. That's what you want to call yourself. White individuals were arrested more often for violent crimes than individuals of any other race and accounted for 59% of those arrests. If you want to check it out, go to FBI.gov. The murder rate in the 25 states that voted for Donald Trump has exceeded the murder rate in the 25 states that voted for Joe Biden every year from 2000 to 2020. You can find that in the United States Congress. Altogether, the per capita red state murder rate was 23% higher than the per capita blue state murder rate when all 21 years were combined. If blue state murder rates were as high as red state murder rates, Biden voting states would have suffered over 45,000 more murders between 2000 and 2020. Once again, preacher, you should read a book. Your ideology is the platform of hate, not facts. You care nothing about truth, but it's the only thing that'll set you free. And when you realize that evil, true evil, is the willful avoidance of truth, you will realize what side you're on. Put him up. You can follow Josh White. He did a remarkable job in this interview. On both Threads and Instagram, he also works as a field correspondent for the Humanities Peace Collective that provides aid to Gaza, Ukraine, Syria, Iraq, and others. Very thankful for your continued leadership, dear brother. All right, Elliott, thoughts here.
I mean, my goodness. First, I'm just a little bit upset that they're trying to get rid of the term Grand Wizard because I think it's kind of hilarious. And it's a great tell that the organization in question is absolutely out of their mind. I think you also, though, brought up a great point about how they're trying to make this all super mainstream now. And you can kind of tell when this guy's talking that, like, they're trying real hard to sound like they're reasonable human beings or like they're somewhat rational or that they know in any way what they're talking about. At one point, he said, there's various applications of that statement. And, and what does the word save mean? I mean, they're trying really hard to sound like intelligent human beings, and they're just not. They're dumb as rocks, unfortunately, and they're spreading hate everywhere. And I think what's so sad about this is not a one-off thing. This is emblematic of a huge demographic in this country who believes this kind of stuff. And I think people are wise to it. So the fact that they're trying to rebrand at least shows that they should have some kind of shame about their worldview, but they're trying to wrap it up in all these little smart statements. And it just doesn't read because, you know, inside of their hearts is just a bottomless pit of darkness. More or less. Oh, I mean, I can keep talking about it.
All right, now the microphone was muted. My apologies. We will provide updates and follow up to this insane ideology as it continues to hopefully be eradicated in our political ranks in particular. All right, well, a white South African has now been detained by ICE, and it seemed as if he believed that ICE would not do anything to him because of his whiteness. Let's go to it. Here it is.
Who claim discrimination in their home country are heading to the United States, where your administration is going to welcome them as refugees. Now, this comes as you've halted virtually all refugee admissions for people fleeing famine and war from countries like Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Why are you creating an expedited path into the country for Afrikaners but not others?
Because they're being killed, and we don't want to see people be killed. But it's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about. But it's a terrible thing that's taking place, and farmers are being killed. They happen to be white, but whether they're white or black makes no difference to me. But white farmers are being brutally killed, and their land is being confiscated in South Africa. And the newspapers and the media, television media, doesn't even talk about it. If it were the other way around, they'd talk about it. That would be the only story they'd talk about.
One, no, they're not being killed. Two, it's not their land. Their ancestors stole it, so there's a process to give it back to the rightful owners. And number three, Trump would give a damn if they were black farmers, because if they were black farmers, he would not have had that press conference. Let's get into it. Put it up full mass. What has happened? A white South African thought he had an open invitation. We're going to get back to why he thought this in a moment. But he thought he had an open invitation to enter the U.S. whenever and however he wanted, because President Donald Trump has been lying about a white genocide in his own country and making it clear that he only wants white immigrants in the United States of America. And now he's sitting in a federal detention center in rural Georgia, wondering how his white privilege card got declined. And this mix-up happened. There's more. According to the New York Times, Schoon Winkle, 59, has spent more than 3 months in the detention center after he boarded a flight from Johannesburg to Atlanta in September, traveling on a tourist visa and telling U.S. border agents that he was seeking asylum upon arrival, which isn't the way Trump's refugee program works, because they have no carve-out for white people, at least not yet. Instead of being allowed to enter the country, he found himself in handcuffs. Within 2 days, he was in a federal detention center in rural Georgia, where about 2,000 people who have been swept up in Trump's immigration crackdown are being held. He has been there for almost 100 days. Quote, "I never expected this to happen," end quote. Schoon Winkle said in a video interview this month from the Stewart Detention Center in Lumpkin, Georgia, quote, "I expected a little bit of red tape," end quote. Schoon Winkle's case may represent one of the more curious effects of Trump's sweeping reshaping of American immigration. An Afrikaner, excited by the president's public embrace of his community, white South Africans, travels to the United States expecting a warm welcome, but instead confronts the other side of Trump's policies, long detentions that have typically entangled migrants from Latin America. But unlike many of them who travel to the United States from poverty-stricken villages in Latin America, he traded a comparatively comfortable life for confinement. And unlike nearly all of the people he is now locked up with, Mr. Schoon Winkle is white, a fact that has led some bewilderment among his fellow detainees. Quote, "They all ask me, 'What are you doing here?'" he said. Now, that alone should help anyone understand the genesis and the execution and purpose of the immigration policy. Because everyone there, probably even ICE agents, are saying to this man, why are you here? Now, why are they saying that to him? Because he's white. Because he's white. And everyone there knows this wasn't made for white people. Canadians have one of the worst records for overstaying their visas in the United States of America. That has been echoed for many years. You don't see a roundup of Canadians with expired visas. Why? Because they typically are white. That's why. So now you have a white guy from South Africa. He got caught up in this because he assumed that the country was racist. He assumed America is embracing white people in ways that they would not embrace anybody else. So he took advantage of the opportunity, leaving a quasi-comfortable lifestyle in order to be incarcerated. He's not talking about, hey, they're killing white farmers in South Africa. I guarantee you, if they were, his commentary would have been only, I'm here seeking asylum. They're killing white farmers. He would have said nothing else. Because that's what people say and do when they truly are in life or death danger. There's more. The lawyer, Marty Rosenbluth, former anti-apartheid and human rights activist, was reviewing intake files at his office when he learned of his new client from South Africa. Quote, what did the attorney say? I assumed he was black. Well, why, Mr. Attorney? Because the attorney knows that the policies were written to incarcerate black and brown folk and not to incarcerate or detain white people. Mr. Rosenbluth said in an interview, quote, why else would he be in ICE custody? Question mark. He said another quote, it never crossed my mind he could be an Afrikaner. Mr. Rosenbluth recalled adding that he knew that group had been singled out for what? Protection by Mr. Trump. Quote, I thought, how could this be happening? He's probably the only Afrikaner in immigration detention, the only one. Mr. Rosenbluth contends that Mr. Schoolwinkle's due process rights had been violated. Why? Because he's a good attorney. And he's not racist. He's going to defend his client. His client, he said, should have been released into the country to file an asylum application with Citizenship and Immigration Services. Quote, he had the right to make his case without being thrown into a hellhole. End quote. The attorney said he fired off emails to ICE asking why is his client being detained and citing the president's executive order. He said he received no response. You think it's unintentional? Maybe they made a mistake. This is the administration that pays attention to tweets from, well, you don't think they can pay attention to this? You don't think they're looking at how this rolls out? You see, here's what's happening. This is your test case. Remember when I told you if you don't say anything when they're knocking on your neighbor's door, you won't have a neighbor to say something when they're knocking on yours. This is a white male. They are knocking on your door. White men, they are knocking on your door. That's what this is about. There's more. For a while, his lawyer struggled to get the government to even respond or even mount a case against him. Eventually, ICE officials said his tourist visa had been rescinded when he requested asylum. That's a bureaucracy thing. Quote, anyone who claims asylum at a port of entry is subject to mandatory detention while the government investigates their claims, said Tricia McLaughlin, a spokesperson for Homeland Security Department. Quote, if their claims are found to be valid, they will be granted relief, she said in a statement. If they are found to not be valid, they are swiftly removed. She said that Afrikaners continued to arrive in the United States through the refugee program after being strictly vetted. Mr. Schoolwinkle's, she stressed, Mrs. Schoolwinkle, she stressed, had not entered as a refugee. You know, back when Donald Trump held that press conference and said South Africans are being murdered, white South Africans, farmers, that was also during the time where Elon Musk was saying the same thing. And Elon Musk was in the White House. And Elon Musk was lobbying for this because the government utilized their authority in order to disenfranchise the farmers who had illegally disenfranchised others by way of ancestry. That's right, the government came in and said this franchise is no longer. Why? Because you obtained it illegally. That's why. And because of that, and because of Elon Musk not being able to move in South Africa as he had previously moved, to purchase, to buy, to pillage, he lobbied Trump. Trump comes out with a ridiculous immigration protective policy, creating a case against the government of South Africa, while at the same time creating an asylum, a refuge for white farmers, building a case. Well, the reason why the case is not fully built is because him and Elon Musk could not get their relationship together. That is my opinion. Mr. Schoolwinkle is expected to learn next month when a hearing will be set for him to present the merits of his case. Quote, "This is the most winnable asylum case I've ever had." That's what the attorney said. The most winnable asylum case. Well, why is that, Mr. Attorney? Quote, "All I have to do is present all of Trump's rhetoric and everything his administration has been saying about South Africa. It's called evidence, is out of court evidence, but it's extrajudicial evidence is what it's called. Yeah, he can present it. Why? Because these folks are in charge of the policy. That's why. There's more. In his asylum application, reviewed by the New York Times, Mr. Schoolwinkle said that he had been persecuted based on his race, political opinion, and membership in a particular social group. He said that he had been attacked in December of 2014, which were years ago, on his farm by two black men claiming that they beat him, tied him up, held him at knife point. The property was looted, he said. Now, you don't have to be any kind of immigration scholar or asylum scholar to understand you being part of an alleged crime, is not the typical prerequisite for you to have protected asylum or refugee status in the United States of America. You were part of a crime. There's more. While many at the agricultural fair raised serious concerns about the safety of farmers and farm workers, others were quick to point out that crime targeted both black and white farmers and farm workers, as shown by South Africa's crime statistics. Violent crime is rife in South Africa, but experts say the vast majority of victims are black and happen to be poor, kind of like in America. Police statistics show that up to 75 people are killed daily across the country. Their culture, the Agriculture Union, TLUSA, says it believes farmers are more susceptible to such attacks because of their isolation, not race. There's more. Government data also show that white farmers own the vast majority of South Africa's farmland. Well, how the hell did that happen? 80% of it, according to the 2017 census of commercial agriculture, which recorded over 40,000 white farmers. The data, however, only reflects farmers who have revenue of $55,396 a year, which actually excludes many small-scale farmers, the majority of them black. Overall, the white majority, just 7% of the population is white, still owns the vast majority of the land in South Africa, which the World Bank has called, quote, the most unequal country in the world. The damn World Bank said. We're unequal for sure. But this is the most unequal outfit on the planet Earth. There's more. According to the 2017 government land audit, white South Africans hold about 72% of individually owned land, while black South Africans own 15%. How did this happen? Apartheid. Apartheid. That's it. It's not complex. And their use of corruption coupled with their belief indoctrination. And so the government has made attempts to correct it. All right, Elliott, thoughts here?
Yeah, it's almost like if you have a huge chapter in the history of your country that happens to be racist, that it doesn't just go away and continues to echo into the present day. I wish some folks in our country would kind of figure that out. Also, this whole situation reminds me a lot of the poem that was written after World War II. You know, the first they came for the communists and I said nothing because I wasn't a communist, et cetera, et cetera. And then they came for me. I mean, this is sort of like a Mad Libs version of it, where first they come for the Browns and then they come for the black people. And then, what do you know? You're locked in a detention. Go figure. Now, I do think it's also kind of ironic that currently, according to this administration, we can't figure out a way to get healthcare subsidies going so that people's healthcare costs don't skyrocket. But we do seem to have all the money in the world to indefinitely detain tens of thousands of people. So I think that's kind of gross. And this whole thing is just very depressing. I remember when, before this administration took office, hearing all of these sort of fantasies about how bad it could be. And I held out hope that it would not be like that. But it does seem to be like that. And it does seem to only be getting worse.
Well said. And I echoed the sentiment of some of the Democratic politicians who have now said it's actually worse than I thought it would be. But we tried to warn them it was worse than what they were saying. Many of us did not think it would go this extreme, but those who are the vanguard in the Congress, Democrats, they decided not to go as far as they could have to stop this from happening. We will bring you updates as they come. We got more on the other side. Indisputable Stick and Stay.
Hey, Andrew, what's up? Hey, Cenk, you ready to make the switch? Yeah, I guess. I promise it's easy, universal, basic, and you get income. Yeah, you keep saying that. But you sure I'm gonna have coverage? Of course you will. You think I would have bad service? I'm Andrew Yang. Of course I have good service. All right, let's try it. But I'm so bad at tech. So, wait. Should I do this thing of the hashtag business? Andrew, you're still on, right? Yep. Oh, I see it. Oh, wait, I don't see. Oh, yeah, I do see it. Here we go. I actually did not realize that you'd be searching in real time, but I love it. How much do people actually normally say? Yeah, the average American is going to save between $500 and $1,000 a year on Noble. Yeah, no. You know what I'm going to do, Andrew? Are you ready to become a Noble member? The two buttons are do it and go back. There's no going back. We're doing it. We're doing it. Here we go, Noble Mobile. Oh my gosh, I just called you and are you now on Noble and not Verizon? Why didn't you tell me it was gonna be super easy? I know, man. Now you just stay away from your phone and watch the money roll in. I can do that. Here you go, phone, yeah. What the f? Cenk, you still there? Andrew? Oh, well, at least I got Noble Mobile. It was really just one take. The whole thing is wild.
It's in my shoes. It's in my shoes. Hi, I'm Brett Ehrlich with breaking news with Brett Ehrlich. This is breaking news with Brett Ehrlich. Hi, Brett Ehrlich here. According to EPA head Scott Pruitt, climate change is not happening. He cited a meme on Facebook he saw. When pressed to back up this source, he said it must be accurate because the watermark said it was made by a scientist. So, your move, Truth.
At TYT, our mission is to boldly pursue truth, challenge the establishment, and drive positive change. At a time when corporate capture of our media, our government, and our politics is nearly absolute, Everyday working people need a champion to fight for them and to push back against the powerful interests that threaten our democracy itself. At TYT, we're proudly progressive and call out corruption and duplicity wherever we see it, from Republicans, Democrats, or anyone else. And unlike mainstream news media outlets, we're not beholden to corporate advertisers, to defense contractors, to Wall Street, or to Big Pharma. We only have to answer to our audience, and for nearly 2 decades, we've accomplished that by delivering honest, timely, and insightful perspectives on the day's news without fear or favor or concern for whose toes we might step on or which powerful elites we might offend. And while we're super serious about the news, we also manage to do it in a way that is fun and lighthearted. We can do this together and serve our audience, and yes, have fun doing it.
You are the media revolution. You are much needed.
TYT! TYT!
The place is like 95% TYT on.
You guys, the Young Turks, which is my favorite channel, we're getting that message out.
Tank and the Young Turks do an extraordinarily good job.
No matter what mainstream media says, you have to listen to the Young Turks.
The people who support us on the internet, that's what gives us strength. That's what allows anyone who was in there who was undecided to think one side seems to be winning. They seem to have a bigger army. There might be a reason for that. So thank you guys.
All right, welcome back. Always good to be with you. We have a lot of comments. I will read as many as I can. Very thankful for everybody. All right, so Raymond_Dragon says, Happy New Year, Dr. Richey. Looking forward to another year of your keen insight to current affairs. I'm looking forward to you being with us all through the journey. Thank you for that. Ronald Fon-R3Z. Happy 2026, indisputable fans, and to you, Dr. Richey and Elliott. I hope you guys are doing fantastic. And you, Dr. Richey, I like your new sexy glasses. You know what? I'm going to keep them. I did this. This is so funny. If you notice from the first segment today, I had on a different pair of glasses because I'm coming in. I had to do a quick class at a teacher class, come here, and I left my glasses. Left my glasses at the office. So I could not find my other pair. And so I found these. These are some glasses I've had for a while. I just don't wear them much. And since you said they look good, I want you to remember for the rest of this year, anytime you see these glasses, it's because of you. Thank you for that. All right. And Kelly K-04W. I would never understand the people who call themselves pastors but hold this much hate for others in their hearts and beliefs. It's antithetical to everything they are supposed to represent. True, that's right. And Neon Death 07, black folks were forced to be Christian due to being enslaved. That's correct. You are correct on that. The religion was given to black Americans or black Africans in America. Like, see? Wow. So you're saying that my black arse is going to hell. I mean, he's saying it, but not saying it. Remember, it's a new rebranding process. You know, he's not the Grand Wizard. He's the national director. So they say things in the other way. He's not saying you're going to hell. He's just saying you're not going to be in heaven. You see how that works? Okay. So damn silly. All right. That's something for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life. About this. Yeah, he's fine.
Hey, I'm scared. I'm a little nervous. Hold
I know you're scared, but why?
Because you're scaring me.
Yeah, because I know. I know what you did. Take that off my face unless you want years in prison. Next right now. Peoria Station.
Calm down, little lady.
Yep. Well, hold it up still, honey.
I'm recording for my protection.
You don't have to.
Calm down.
We already got
calm
your
down.
eyeballs.
Calm down.
What do you mean, calm down?
Calm down.
What are you talking about?
Chill out.
What are you talking about?
Calm down.
I've got you here.
Just chill out. Calm down.
Yeah, what are you saying, calm down?
Because I'm scared of you.
No, you're not. You're not afraid of me.
I am.
Yeah?
Hey, don't say, hey.
See?
Hey, you better chill out.
Oh, see?
Go over there.
There you go.
Go over there.
There you go.
Go over there. I don't play with white people like that. Don't touch me.
Sir, no one should play with you like that. White, black, brown, put it a full mask. Unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot of information about this particular Karen on the flight harassing a black passenger, allegedly. But I do want to find more information. If we have more information, let us know. We do have the post that says, "Trouble, just find the F out of me." Wow. I want somebody to imagine, we'll keep the picture up. I want someone to imagine a male, in particular a black male, standing over a white female, white woman in a similar fashion. And the white woman, who's a victim of harassment at this point, says, "I am afraid of you." And the black male who's towering over says, "No, you're not. You're not afraid of me." That alone would shock the conscience of everybody around you. That alone would put it in proper perspective. The only thing that changes it inside of the minds of most is when the narrative changes the race. All right, dear brother, thoughts here.
I mean, my goodness, this poor lady. I think she reminds me of the receptionist from Monsters, Inc., first of all, but no, we don't need to get into that stuff. What came to mind for me is I think maybe airport bars should be a little bit more judicious about the amount that they're serving, because this seems like someone who walked onto that airplane with a chip on their shoulder, likely having a nice time after getting through TSA. And yeah, it's absolutely disgusting to see. I mean, I fly a fair bit, and when you're in that environment, there's always a sense of kind of like, okay, everyone just stay calm, because you see these videos all the time, and they do seem to be popping up more and more where everyone is on edge. They're ready to like pop off at a moment's notice. And good on that guy for remaining as calm as he did. Also, you don't need to hold your laptop up like that. What are you doing, like accounting or like spreadsheets or something? You can put that thing down. So good on him for handling it the way he did.
Yeah, good on him. All right, we'll bring updates if there's an update to bring. Got something for you. Double dose.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, great. Yeah, look, watch. She's going to touch me. She's going to touch me. She's going to touch me. Thank you.
I've already called the police. All right.
Put it up. The Karen here was attempting to, well, you know, but it seems like she didn't have enough, you know, to get it really going. The saliva just isn't there like it used to be. So she starts blowing on the woman. I don't know what's going on, people. Karen got physical with the woman in the parking lot with a big smile and attempted to knock the woman's phone from her hands as she was recording the altercation. Then obviously decided to huff and puff and blow her house down. I don't know. Onlookers told the woman that they were calling 911. Pretty bad when people are saying they're calling 911 on the senior citizen, but that's how extreme Karenicity has become. Elliott, you are a master of debt psychologist, sir. What in the hell is going on here?
I think I'd probably pass on her as a client if I ever had clients. But yeah, I mean, I do think a rule of thumb, generally speaking, is if you end up in an altercation like this, and all of a sudden you start feeling like you need to blow raspberries like a toddler, that might be a sign that you're regressing a little bit. Maybe take a step back, maybe breathe a little bit. But also, it's just embarrassing when that's what comes out, because you know in her mind afterwards she was thinking of the meanest, coolest thing she could have possibly thought of. But in that moment, she's just overtaken by the little toddler child inside of her who is yet to learn to read or behave well in public. So God bless her. I hope she finds the help she needs by someone else.
Yeah, well said. Inner child psychology is a great psychological element of therapy. I highly recommend that those who act in this way seek that opportunity. It's available for you, and I mean that in seriousness. All right, we got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay.
The most popular online news show.
Favorite news platform by far. Oh, it's not even close.
Been on YouTube for 20 years. The Young Turks.
The Young Turks.
TYT probably needs no introduction.
A true lefty, Cenk Uygur.
Cenk Uygur.
Cenk, so great to talk to you.
Great to talk to you, David.
Fan of your work for a long time, man.
Anna Kasparian is one of the most followed and influential progressive women online.
I love Anna.
Your presence has been essential for me to really grow.
Do all of you know the Young Turks? This is why what Young Turks are doing is so important.
I've watched you for many years. You are insightful. I thank you for that.
I was going to introduce myself, but it sounds like you guys might know it.
Ring the bell on YouTube today. You know what it does? It actually rings the bell at my house. It's super annoying, but if you do it, it just keeps on ringing. Oh, plus you can find out when the show is live and whenever we have new clips. Ring the bell. Oh no, not again.
How would I look walking the dog on the White House lawn? Would that be?
You know how much it costs you to start an account on TYT.com? Nothing. It's free. So you just go and register in about 2.5 seconds. Then you can chat with us during the show. We read those comments the most often. You chat with each other. Tons of people have become friends there. We're super interactive. We do a lot of polls for our paying members. We sometimes do polls that drive the direction of the show. So that's amazing. There's no other show that's this interactive. And our home base for that is TYT.com. Come join us right now.
When you were growing up, what did you want to be?
I think I was starting to think I don't want to do one thing, and I did live up to that.
Well, mission accomplished then, because Dave was a geologist, and now he's helped found the Young Turks. Even within TYT, you've done a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So if you want to do different things, you nailed it. All right, last story to end on is a Dave story. Whenever there was something like obvious, glaring, he would go up and ask them about it. Like it'd be like a giant church, right? And somebody's standing in front of it. The usual Dave go, pull up right in front of him. Be like, hey, do you know where there's a church around here? And they're like, right here. It's right here.
Practical jokes. Spice up life a little.
We've been around for about 20 years and we have about 20 billion views. Am I proud of that? Hell yeah, I am. We put out 20 billion messages in a bottle. Have we helped to move now 2 generations, millennials and Gen Z, to become progressive? Yes, those numbers are real. We moved generations. Were we the only ones? Of course not. But we have been the largest online news show for now decades. Cool news, shoptyt.com now has books. There's a whole bunch of books there. You're gonna be shocked to find out that they're largely progressive. Of course! Ryan Grimm's book, We've Got People, is there. It's a fantastic story from Jesse Jackson to Bernie Sanders to AOC that explains the progressive movement probably better than any book I've ever read. Speaking of awesome books, my dad's got a book out called The Original Young Turk, where he goes from the poorest olive farmer you ever met in your life to living there.
All right, welcome back. Always good to be with you. Let me read some of these beautiful comments. Okay. Syntax 1965 says, oh man, someone get me a date with this lady. LaRon Harrison 1110. The Karens didn't take New Year's off? No, sir. It actually worked the opposite way. We're in the year of the paradigm shift. Earth goes up to fifth density or something like that. Okay, and I did notice this. Donald James X2990 says, dirty ass fingernail. We got to go back and review the record. And this is Ilkek says, as a former bartender at a restaurant at the airport, we were vigilant on making sure guests don't leave drunk or board a flight drunk, which probably means she had her own per se. She had her own stash with her. Or came there already, you know. Melon 462 says she blowing dust. All right. What if I told you American Airlines that they have been accused of basically scamming black pilot school students? Put it up full mass. This is a hell of a story. And if true, a major, major scandal. American Airlines launched a new flight training program in 2018. It was celebrated, intended to provide people with no experience ever flying a plane with a streamlined pathway to become commercial airline pilots within a year. This was, as they said, to increase diversity in the cockpit. A 1-year commercial flight training program. Can it be done? Of course it can be done. It has to be intense, but it can be done because you can get your flight hours in within a year. That is absolutely doable. So put it back up. Now you got 18 former student pilots, most of them are black, are suing the world's largest airline and its training school, claiming they were conned into paying up to $130,000 for a falsely advertised program that did not deliver what it promised and has left them in crushing debt and career limbo. We have the details. The $36 million federal lawsuit filed on December 16th in the Southern District of California and obtained by Atlanta Black Star says that the American Airlines Cadet Academy promised to provide aspiring pilots with the training, financing, and mentoring to become pilots ready to receive lucrative job offers from the airline's regional carriers within 12 months and to start earning income as flight instructors. Now, I want to remind everybody, this is the same company providing the training and providing the hiring. So if they provide the training and then they say, well, we can't hire you, there's a disconnect between the proclamation of the advertisement to go to the school. Because if you're not guaranteeing employment, they can go to another flight school much cheaper and have pathways to success in different arenas. But if you go to this specific one, you're specifically training them for commercial piloting. There's more. Each of the 18 plaintiffs was allegedly told by recruiters and through advertising that the program's $100,000 cost was all inclusive, covering training, supplies, housing, and most living expenses. Most of them took out fat loans, quit their jobs, moved close to one of America's partner flight schools run by the defendant, Coast Flight Training and Management, which offered training in San Diego, Dallas, and San Marcos, Texas. The reality at the Cadet Academy, quote, bore little resemblance to what plaintiffs thought they had signed up for, end quote, the complaint says. Completing the program took significantly longer than 12 months for most students, at a much greater cost than advertised. The flight schools did not have enough functional planes, instructors, and facilities to offer flying time 5 days a week, and training was further hampered by high staff turnover. Now, if you do a program like this in a year, here's what's required: flight hours. If you don't get the flight hours in, either because you couldn't make it or the flight instructor couldn't make it or plane wasn't available, it don't matter. You have to get those flight hours in. Extending the program to beyond a year. So you already have an issue with the 12 months. And for the non-white cadets, who made up about half of each AACA cohort, people who started at the same time, from 2018 to 2023, the program offered blatant race discrimination and disparate treatment, the lawsuit states. The Black, Indian, Pakistani, and Brazilian plaintiffs contend their flight schools were hostile environments where instructors made racially derogatory statements, such as calling one black cadet's brown skin, quote, dirty, and her fingernails, quote, ghetto. Another instructor allegedly told a black plaintiff that he had a, quote, tiny brain, and dressed him down in front of his peers, telling him to shut the F up. A black female cadet was called, quote, aggressive and, quote, hostile. Let me tell you something. I promise you, I'm not going to pay you to assault me. I can guarantee you that. I can damn guarantee you, you will not get money from me in order for you to insult me. These individuals are paying for their own oppression. Oppression of educational attainment, oppression of dignity, and oppression of future job employment opportunity, and it's coming out of their pocket. There's more. The complaint alleges that the Cadet Academy also treated the plaintiffs less favorably than white students by providing them with less flying and training time than their white peers, grading them more harshly, labeling them as trouble students, and ultimately railroading many non-white cadets into a dead-end remedial program that led to their dismissal from the training program. While white students were offered flying time 5 or 6 days a week at optimal scheduling times, the complaint says non-white students were often grounded for days or weeks and were scheduled to fly during cloudy, stormy, or windy conditions, sometimes causing their sessions to be canceled. Put them up, full mass. Tristan Sanderson, 30 years of age, he's black, was working as an accountant in Dallas when he applied to the program in 2021. These are accomplished professional individuals. He attended a Future Airline Pilot Association event later that year, where a black pilot working for American told a group of aspiring aviators about his journey to the captain's seat, the complaint said. Afterward, America's director of recruiting, Brad Morrison, told the group that a pilot was earning more than $350,000 per year and said the Cadet Academy was, quote, the best way to put themselves in his shoes quickly. So Sanderson took out a loan of $110,000 that he was told would cover the entire cost of the 12-month training program, during which he'd have a pilot mentor to guide him. Now, I don't believe that this program and the programs, well, let's just say, variables of discrimination allegations. I don't believe that what was happening in America, what is happening in America, is separate. I don't believe that comments from far right and mostly white conservative commentators that will say, well, if there's a black pilot, I just don't trust them. I think they are there because they got favor. Well, according to this report, only the white pilots got favor. Not the black ones, not the black trainees. The cause and effect of our political narrative, our social narrative, and I believe an expression of this particular institution go hand in hand. There's more. His training took significantly longer and was more costly due to factors outside of his control, including the scheduling delays, which he says was their fault. Poorly maintained planes and race-based bias from instructors and management, the complaint asserts. He was not assigned a mentor until his 11th month of training. Sanderson's instructors held him to a higher, harsher standard than white cadets, giving him unsatisfactory remarks for small mistakes, but not doing so for white cadets, the lawsuit says. By July 2023, he was placed in the remedial training program, purportedly for failing a check ride evaluation and for canceling on training activities. But the academy did not put several white students who had failed multiple check rides in the remedial program, the lawsuit says. Unequal application of the rule is what that is called. In the end, 13 out of the 18 plaintiffs were placed in remedial training programs with their attorneys, which their attorneys argue, quote, was a pathway to force cadets, particularly non-white cadets, out of the AACA after they had already paid tuition and incurred debt, end quote. Other plaintiffs had to drop out before they attained their licenses and flight ratings because they could not afford to rack up more loan and credit card debt. Some later obtained their flying credentials elsewhere, meaning they had the chops, they had the capacity. At additional expense, only about 35% of all cadets who started the academy program completed it. You got a 35% graduation rate. The lawsuit claims, and only 3 cadets out of the 81 finished within 12 months. 3 cadets out of 81, 12 months. Your graduation rate, that 3 out of the 81 is less than 10%. Your extended graduation rate is 35% or lower. You don't have a problem with the students, you have a problem with the instructor. If there's any college with that kind of graduation rate for a 12-month program, believe me, it's not the student. It is the instructor or instructors. The complaint alleges that the credit union violated the Federal Equal Credit Opportunity Act and Racketeering Influence Corruption Act, RICO, by conspiring with the airline to falsely represent that its loans covered 100% of the cost of the flight school. By the time the AAFCU started offering loans for the Cadet Academy in 2022, American Airlines and its affiliated credit union had access to several years of data regarding the AACA cadets' success rates, the time it took to complete the academy, and the actual cost. Information material to cadets' decisions to enroll that it intentionally withheld, the lawsuit argues. Let me clean up some of this just for a moment. When you obtain a loan for an educational institution, typically when they have an agreement with said entity, that loan officer or that loan agency will provide you with numbers such as graduation rate. How much on average does the position or the professional credential pay? How long is the actual duration of completion rather than what's advertised? Why? Because that bank has done enough vetting to say we're going to approve for this particular educational outfit. And all you have to do is bring your body in here and apply for the loan. So there's this fiscal responsibility. So that's what's being argued in the lawsuit that the bank did not take, according to them. American Airlines said in a statement that through this program, we have sought to expand the pipeline of talented candidates from all over the country, many of whom now enjoy rewarding careers at American Airlines. We take seriously the concerns raised by this group of former cadets, but we believe the allegations are without merit. I guess we will see you in court. Obviously, the numbers are abysmal. The proclamations are coming from career professionals who decided to change their career in mid-flight, no pun intended. And if they have records, according to this, they do, of showing that they don't actually graduate people within 12 months, You already have a dysfunctional advertisement dynamic coming from the Cadet Academy. All right, dear brother, thoughts here.
My goodness, it's like an onion of a story. You peel back and there's another layer and another layer. It sounds like one heck of a lawsuit that these folks have on their hands. I think that there's a very deep irony about this whole thing, just on a more meta level. Like, you're doing this program or you're creating this because you want to increase diversity, and then throughout the process, you end up being even more racist and more prejudiced. And I think you're right. It does say something about kind of the trickle down effect of the rhetoric that comes from on high in this nation. And I worry about these types of stories because when you get into the details, it's very clear that these students were not to blame. But when you hear it just sort of like, from the other room, I worry that it could become fodder for people who are always going against any kind of diversity initiatives. Like, this puts a bad taste in their mouth, and I worry that it'll just sort of confirm their biases, even though that might not match up with reality. It gives them that opportunity. So I also think it's kind of funny that American Airlines did the classic, we investigated ourselves and we found we did nothing wrong. So that just sounds like a typical corporation. But yeah, well, I mean, what a nightmare of a situation these folks are in.
Yeah, and it seems like the setup was already in. They had the recruiter.
Yeah.
They had the bank ready. All you had to do was sign your name to the dotted line.
Yep.
All right, we'll bring you updates as they come. Okay, we're going to go to the next story now. So Jake Paul threatens to sue critics claiming his fights were fixed. Put him up for a mass. Jake Paul, it is of my opinion that your fights are fixed. Sue me. Bring it. Jake Paul, it is of my opinion that you are a grifter. Jake Paul, it is of my opinion that Mike Tyson could have whooped your ass. Jake Paul, it is of my opinion that you are bluffing. Jake Paul, it is of my opinion you're selling wolf tickets in the ring and outside of the ring. Jake Paul, it is of my opinion you're trying to bully your way out of this. Jake Paul, it is of my opinion that I could whoop your ass. See, it's called freedom of speech, dear brother. Freedom of speech. You are not immune. My freedom of speech. After Jake Paul and his MVP promotions team were accused of hosting a rigged boxing match against Anthony Joshua, which ended with Paul being knocked out, the YouTuber turned boxer's MVP co-founder, Nakisa Badarian, has stated that they intend to file lawsuits against the critics making the accusations. Although Paul was knocked out in the 6th round of the match, with Joshua being a superior fighter and outweighing Paul, experts and fans expected Joshua to knock Paul out much sooner. This is not the first time Paul has been accused of fixing his boxing contest. The most recent accusation was Mike Tyson, in which the former heavyweight champion seemed to hesitate to fight Paul with the same fervor and aggressiveness that boxing fans are used to seeing. So let's put it up. Badarian appeared on the Ariel Helwani show. This was December 22nd to discuss the fight and mentioned he has heard rumors circulating about the Paul Joshua match, and their legal team has promised to quote, go after a number of people, end quote, who have speculated that the fight was rigged. You can speculate, you can have an opinion. They need to get real. An attorney who is proclaiming to sue someone for protected speech isn't the attorney you want on your team. There's more. Quote, our lawyers are actively going after a number of people, Badarian said. One who claims to be a lawyer himself online. I don't remember the name or the handle, but it was something that had like 200,000 likes. Basically, this post said there was an arrangement for AJ not to knock out Jake, but AJ disregarded the agreement and decided to mitigate his payday, but knock out Jake Paul. So it's pretty astonishing what people say. Join the club, dear brother. People lie on public folk all the time, including me. Criticism is the price you pay for leadership. The day you're unwilling to pay the price of criticism is the day you're unfit to lead anybody. Deal with it. People will lie on you. People will make up narratives. People will say they have an adverse opinion of you no matter what. I thought the brother had thicker skin than that, to be honest with you. All right, so he reassured everyone that although there has been talk of them fixing fights, Paul only engages in real fights. He stated that because Joshua did not knock him out earlier than planned, the narrative changed, leading fans to believe the fight was fixed. Quote, it's just beyond mind-blowing that people would think that Anthony Joshua was on record saying that if he didn't finish him in the first round, that would be disappointing. That would be a failure. The narrative changed as we got close to the fight and obviously post-fight, and I understand why, but they were pretty adamant it would take max 2 rounds to knock out Jake Paul. Okay. It's called a fighter's opinion. They prize boxers, man. They prize fighters. We get to talk about who did this, who did that, what could have happened, what should have happened, what the opinion is. You know, people who fight, who box, who are prize fighters, you can have 2 actual prize fighters in the ring that actually do this professionally for life. And there are people that will say, well, I thought that was fixed. That has been echoed throughout the course of the profession. I gotta say this. Let's put the pictures of Jake Paul and everybody back up. Let's put them back up. Jake Paul, you have to be the first prize fighter that has threatened to sue commentators for an opinion about the fight. Elliott, thoughts here?
Oh my goodness, Jake Paul, what a guy. He is great. He reminds me very much of just, wow, people really are different and they take different paths in life. I grew up doing YouTube back in 2012. I kind of got my start there, and I remember watching him come up and his brother come up. I was like, okay, this is a totally different angle on the entire medium that I've kind of invested in for so long. But yeah, it is a spectator sport. So like people, I believe, should be allowed to spectate on it and to look at it and to comment on it. That's kind of the whole point of entertainment, or the entertainment aspect of sports. But in terms of what you said about him having a thick skin, I think you got to confuse with thick skull. But you know, best of luck to him and his jaw.
Well said, dear brother. Well said. All right, we'll bring you updates as they come. And if he files a suit, I'll let you know that as well. Okay, I'll bring you an update. Okay. A black female officer accuses her department of sexual harassment. Sexual harassment. Put up the emblem. I'm taking you to Kansas City. Sergeant Janita Harris says she endured racial discrimination, multiple unwanted sexual advances, and retaliation in the workplace following reports to Human Resources at the Kansas City Police Department. Before I get into this story, I want to remind everyone, I have said since day one, the isms travel together. Where there's racism, there's sexism. Sexism, there's another ism. These isms travel together. A black Kansas City Department sergeant, that means that she has rank, she's a supervisor, is suing the Board of Police Commissioners alleging sex, race, and disability discrimination in the workplace. The suit, filed December 10th in Jackson County Circuit Court, alleges a variety of issues Sergeant Janita Harris dealt with during her tenure in the police department, including racial discrimination, multiple unwanted sexual advances, and retaliation in the workplace following reports to Human Resources. Quote, the conduct of defendant was outrageous and evidenced an evil motive or reckless indifference for the rights of plaintiff and the rights of others, entitling plaintiff to an award of punitive damages, end quote. The lawsuit reads, the lawsuit claims Harris was removed as the Gang Intelligence Unit sergeant due to the, quote, discriminatory attitude of her supervisor. The supervisor allegedly told Harris that employees complained that she did not smile enough. I have been working for a long time. I have never heard a supervisor tell me, you know, Doc, the main complaint is you just don't smile enough. Why? Because typically only a woman in employment would get that kind of retort, which is already gender bias. There's more. Quote, department employees held a negative racial stereotype towards Harris, the lawsuit reads. Quote, department employees regarded Harris as a violent, angry black woman. Now, she's the police now. Okay, you got to remember the context here. She is a violent, angry black woman. Harris's previous position of gang intelligence sergeant was filled by white men. Court documents claim that Harris was then moved to the violent crimes unit, where she continued to experience discriminatory attitudes and hostility. She was asked to move into a new office for a white colleague transferring into the division, who the special victims unit captain wanted to place in a bigger office according to the filing, so they made her move. Harris then began having issues with a subordinate who allegedly used racial slurs in the workplace, amongst other racially charged comments. The filing claims Harris told the officer to stop using the comments, but the behavior continued. That's a direct order and a direct refusal. The police department has long been dogged by accusations of racial discrimination against black officers in its ranks. A U.S. Department of Justice investigation of racial discrimination in the department was announced in mid-2021 following an investigation by the Star. So they already have a history. If they wanted it to be cleaned up, they should have listened to this black woman. So here's the chokehold. The lawsuit claims that at one point in 2023, the officer placed Harris into a chokehold during a meeting while describing an incident that had occurred with a civilian. Harris claims she was the only other woman and only black person in the room at the time. Harris reported the incident to Human Resources, citing additional discrimination and harassment she had experienced, as well as sexual harassment by a sergeant who was not described further in her filing. The lawsuit alleges 2 other sexual harassment complaints from unwanted advances made by another officer and a civilian who worked at the police department. The lawsuit claims that the report was being investigated by a detective that had a friendly relationship with at least one of the men that Harris had reported for misconduct, police investigating police. None of the officers were disciplined following an internal affairs investigation. Quote, during and following the internal affairs investigation, plaintiff was isolated and ostracized from her position in the domestic violence section by ongoing mistreatment from the department members, the lawsuit reads. Quote, after the investigation, plaintiff was required to undergo sensitivity training as if she had done something wrong by reporting the sex and race discrimination she experienced. Harris then brought up concerns about a backlog of cases that weren't being investigated in the department to a captain. Court documents claim those concerns were ignored. Now, I want to remind everybody that she is not accused of being violent against a particular person, but was considered or recommended. It was recommended that she goes through sensitivity training. The lawsuit states Harris suffers from work-related post-traumatic stress disorder. It claims she began experiencing flare-ups during the 2023 investigation and later developed depression due to work conditions. That's a very real thing. In 2024, Harris transferred from the domestic violence section she had been working with to avoid further discrimination or retaliation. The lawsuit claims Harris was not given training for a new position, working with the Police Athletic League. Quote, defendants appear to be attempting to create a work environment so hostile to plaintiff that she must quit her employment. The lawsuit reads, the lawsuit seeks a jury trial for the multiple claims made as part of the filing. When your attorney seeks a jury trial, he got you. He or she got you. They want to take this straight to the people. Damn all this talking settlement stuff. Let's go to the people. All right, hell of a story. We'll bring you updates, obviously. Elliott, thoughts here?
I mean, it's just another example, I think, of you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, where you are suffering from being, essentially abused or allegedly abused. And then when you go forward, when you bring that forward, all of a sudden you're further ostracized. That leads to further mental health problems. It's a vicious cycle. It also encourages other people to not come forward in similar situations. Also, hopefully, maybe one day we can move past this whole "you need to smile more" thing that these people love talking about still, like it's the 1950s or we're in Mad Men or something. Like the smile more thing has got to end, and yet for some reason it just keeps hanging on. So it's incredibly frustrating, and good luck to this woman.
You know what I learned, brother? When you give people something to smile about, they smile more.
Weird how that works.
That's how it works. All right, always a pleasure having you on the program. Tell people how they can follow you. Continue checking out your great work.
Oh, you can find me at Rebel HQ. I have a playlist over there you can check out, or at substack.com/Elliott Morgan. But thank you for having me, Dr. Ricky.
Thank you, my friend. Until next time. All right. Remember, take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Take care of the planet. Remember, the truth is always indisputable.